Hi, this is Michael Rizzo, and we're on our next adventure with Linux. Today, we're going to be showing you how to set up Iptables and Webmin on Ubuntu 18.04. Now, these directions can also be followed for other distributions of Linux. So, we're going to get started by setting up Webmin. So, what you're going to do is SSH into your system or have physical access, whichever one works for you. And then we're going to download the .deb file for Webmin. If you're on CentOS, I believe it's just in the main repository for CentOS. But again, look that up if you're confused. Now that we have the .deb downloaded, we're going to install it with dpkg-i, the name of the deb file. Type in your password. It's going to unpack Webmin. You're going to get an error with dependency problems. So to fix this, you do sudo apt install -f, and it's going to get the required dependencies and install everything like it should. Let that go for about a minute, maybe two, depending on the speed of your system. Should be all done. And then once Webmin's all set up, and once we show off Webmin, we're going to set up Iptables so we have a proper firewall for our system. It's really easy to set up, and it's a few basic commands, but we'll do that in a few minutes. And now we're going to show logging into Webmin through a web browser. So type in the IP address of the system, port 10,000. You're going to hit continue option. You're going to log in with your username and password. And then once you're in, you can do all sorts of things, set up SSH ports, firewall rules. Basically control the whole system, even has a built-in command line, so it's always a good option to have. And then once we're in, you can go to any option and do anything you want. If you're a little confused on something, you can always Google and you can find an answer pretty quickly. Now that Webmin's all set up, we need to set up a firewall. So what we're going to do first is we're going to make sure our loopback connections are set so we can talk, so the services in the computer can talk with one another. Get that all set up. So now we're just setting up the loopback rules for the firewall to allow that to work. Now we're setting up the SSH port. Yeah, now we're setting up the custom SSH ports to be allowed into the firewall. So for this is port 1804. We're allowing this to be accepted in as a rule. And now we're going to allow Webmin in, which is port 10,000. And what this command does is allows all the current connections to be allowed into the firewall. Makes it simple, you don't have to worry about what connections you have, it automatically does it for you. This command looks complicated, but it basically lets all the current connections through the firewall without you worrying about having to worry about every connection that's enabled and finding it yourself. It's automatic, very easy to set up this way. And what this command does is it drops all the other connections. And for reference, if you ever want to list your rules, you do sudo iptables space -L to list all your rules. If you want to start from scratch, do sudo iptables -F to just get rid of all your rules and start from scratch. And then once you have your rules set up, you're going to install Iptables persistent in Ubuntu. So sudo apt install Iptables persistent, or it might be netfilter persistent. Depends on what Ubuntu distribution you have. And now we're about to install Iptables persistent. Actually, it's netfilter persistent in Ubuntu. Sorry for the mistake. And then you're going to do netfilter persistent apply. No, it's actually save. And then you're going to do reload. It's going to probably ask for your password. And then you're going to give it the password. I guess in this case it doesn't need it. Maybe it does. Depends on what distro you use. Now just to check, we do sudo iptables-L. And that is it. We have successfully set up Webmin and Iptables in Ubuntu. The steps will be pretty similar for other distributions. And now we just check it. Everything works. And we have successfully set up Webmin and Iptables in Ubuntu. Stay tuned for next week's lesson, and have a great day.